This is a lithium-ion battery, and these are its components. Let us focus on these two layers. The first layer is made out of copper. The second NCA layer stands for nickel, cobalt, and aluminum. This layer defines the lifetime of a battery, particularly the cobalt inside of it. What the cobalt does is give strength to the NCA layer, allowing it to withstand the pressures that occur when the electrons pass through from one layer to the next. These are the components for every lithium-ion battery. And given the fact that almost everything on Earth is turning electric, this will make the lithium-ion battery production business one of the most lucrative to be in. And it is. As of 2021, the business is worth around $44.5 billion and expected to grow $193 billion by the year 2028. And the key essential to making that transition is cobalt and copper, most of which is found in the Congo. That means they will benefit greatly from this, right? No, the Congo is still one of the poorest places on Earth. Why? Why aren't they prospering from all this wealth? Cobalt and copper is not the only thing that the Congo produces. If you ever had braces or a joint replaced, chances are it was coated in tantalum. Tantalum is used in the process because it's flexible and it doesn't rust easily. The majority of tantalum is found in the Congo, also producing crude oil, diamonds, gold, other gemstones, and valuable resources. If you calculate all of it, you will find that the value of all of these resources comes out to $24 trillion. That evaluation doesn't potentially make them one of the richest countries in Africa, but the entire world. So why then does the World Bank rank the Congo as the 5th poorest country on Earth? What went wrong? I would have liked to say that this was an easy problem to understand, but it's not. To even start to comprehend what is going on there, we need to understand its history, the traditions that form because of it, and the corruption within it. Keep in mind that these are not individual factors, they work simultaneously with each other. So what happened? We need to go back around 700 years. Where the Congo is located now, you would find a place called the Kingdom of the Congo. It ruled from 1392 to 1862. The kings who ruled at that time subjugated its people with heavy taxation. Anything that was produced, a portion of it belongs to the king. The way the king reinforced this was with a large military force. Of course, naturally, the people reacted to this and moved away from the cities into the rural areas. But despite their willingness for freedom and autonomy, they still need to be subjected to the king. You see, around those times they were invading tribes, and in order to be protected, they needed the king's help. Thus, they had to pay. And those who dare revolt against the king, he had another way of making money: slavery. The Indian Ocean slave trade was booming at that time. This kingdom set the stage for what the Congo will be like to this day. The king's way of rule was made even easier with the arrival of the Portuguese in 1482. Designed to trade, the king did so. The Portuguese got slaves, gold, diamonds. And the king? He got guns. The only ones to benefit from the Congo's wealth was those who were willing to oppress it. Of course, the people found ways to adapt as best as they could. This is a highly unstable structure, and it was bound to fail eventually, and it did. The king grew weaker in power and the Portuguese themselves took control of the country. And they continued the exact same way the kings had. In 1884, the people were left feeling even less significant when the world's power at that time started to divide Africa. The British, French, Portuguese, Germans, Belgians, and 10 other countries met in Berlin to discuss how they would have done this. This became known as the Berlin Conference. When the matter of the Congo came up, they decided to give it to the Belgian king, Leopold II. King Leopold did not run this like a country. He ran it like a business, making it as efficient as possible to get as much out of the Congo. His military force, the Force Publique, was quite efficient in carrying out their responsibility, that of keeping people in line. They burned the houses of rebels and killed them. Those who were not producing enough, their families were either kidnapped, their hands were cut off, or they were simply shot. His rule was so brutal that it is a highlight in the Congo's history, also resulting in him losing it. When the Belgian government took over in 1908, they again changed very little. They did not finance anything on the Congo. They wanted it to be self-sustaining. The only infrastructure that was built was specifically designed to extract resources. However, the Belgian government did allow some Congolese people to get into power, but as most people were uneducated, they were easier to control. Things drastically changed after World War II. The Belgian government allowed for more liberalization to occur. A middle class was formed. And as people wised up to what was occurring, anger started to build, leading to riots and protests throughout the country. As a result of all of this, in June 1960, the Belgian government gave the Congo its independence. Of course, this was a good thing, but there were unintended consequences. As soon as they got independence, the region quickly destabilized. The main reason for this is when the Belgian government was in power, of the 5,000 persons working for them in the government, only 3 of these were Congolese. And only 16 persons in the entire country had a university education of a population of over 20 million. A terrible start to an independent country. The rebel groups that were formed clashed with each other. It took 5 years for some sort of stability to be reintroduced. In 1965, President Mobutu took power. Hopefully he would have been able to change things, but he simply followed the example of his predecessors, gathering wealth and oppressing the people. His rule came to an end in the First Congo War in 1996. This war lasted for 1 year. 1 year after that, the Second Congo War started, beginning in 1998 and lasting till 2003. After the end of the war, a transitional government held power for 3 years until 2006. July 30, 2006 was the first time in its history where multi-party elections were held. A ray of hope had shined over the Congo, but that would have been for those who were on the outside looking in. The people understood the Congo's history. That ray of hope was snuffed out when the people realized that the corporations and government were just going to continue to extract wealth. Slavery didn't end when the kingdom fell. They simply traded one king for another. They still sacrificed their bodies and lives for those who are over them. Can this problem be fixed? Maybe. The Congolese people had become very self-sufficient under these circumstances. They build their own houses, plant their own food, get their own water, sew their own clothes, entertain themselves. They have very few people who are able to specialize. In advanced economies, those who flourish are those who become proficient at one skill, allowing them to become more marketable, raising their standards of living. Throughout history, those who were in charge of the Congo understood that to continue extracting as much as possible to make the most amount of money, you need to be able to control the people, ensuring that they have just enough to survive, but not enough to overthrow you. And as more people means more power, this trajectory is not about to change anytime soon. Today, there are 95 million people there. By 2050, it will have 192 million people. And it is estimated by 2100, there will be 362 million. That is a lot of people to make you rich. As we transition to a more greener future, the Congo's resources will become ever more valuable. As we drive in our electric cars, they will warm. As we get power from our solar roofs, they need to worry about whether their mattress will get wet when it rains. As we stand in line for the latest innovation, they will dig for minerals to pay for food. The history of the Congo is a hard one to tell. The people form traditions to survive, and those in power try to keep it the way it is. It is a sad story, and an even harder one to live. Thanks for watching.